So Ben Riley,
Yes, Aditya, great to see you.
thank you for joining this interview.
Oh, my pleasure.
For our Young Living family, our German team Enjoy is the team I founded, but we work a lot cross-line because we find out actually we have family members in all the different teams.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah.
That means you never get all the people who would be your perfect members in your group.
Yep.
They end up in other groups, and so we are all cross-connecting.
Yeah.
What is your observation on that?
Well, I think that it all starts with a leader. And the thing I know about you, Aditya, is you're an abundant person and an abundant leader, which is, I think, Young Living culture. It's what Gary and Mary founded the company on. You exemplify it in your own life. And I think that abundance means that we can be a big family. And it's one of the things that's special about our business is we come on this cruise and there are, I think, something like 500 people on this ship. And it feels like we're among friends, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even people I've never met before, I feel like they're my friends, they're my family, because we have so many things in common, so many common values and things that bind us together. So it's what's special about Young Living, I think.
Absolutely, it's a family. In many network marketing companies, different companies, there's a lot of competition and stealing and win and lose.
Yep.
And we have that win-win-win philosophy.
Yeah.
And that abundance mindset, which Gary taught us really.
Yeah.
Also, he was growing up in the most poverty circumstances, really himself.
Yeah.
What is your advice to people who are afraid they don't get enough people or others may steal their members? Because in my experience, it's always a mindset. That means if you feel you have enough, you're generous, then things automatically come to you.
Yeah, and that's the way Mary teaches this to me every day. She says, what you put out in the world is what you get back.
Wow.
So if you want abundance, put abundance out into the world.
Wow.
You know, that's how it works. Gary taught me at a very young age that that every pancake has two sides. And in life, if we focus on our side of the pancake, we're always going to be much more empowered, much happier than if we're always focusing on somebody else's side.
Yes.
Right? I can't do anything else about somebody else's side. All I can do is focus on my side. And so I think having that abundance, and if you start giving abundance out, abundance finds you too. And I think that's where it starts, is have an abundant mindset, to your point, is realize there's so much, this world is such a big place. And when we do our best, when we're putting good out into the world, it creates more good. There's no limit to good. And I think sometimes when we think about scarcity, we think there's not enough. There's always enough.
Yeah.
It's just if we're willing to put out the good things into the world, and that means more good, and more good creates more good. There's no limit to it.
That's fantastic. That means essentially we are all farmers. If we're sowing enough seeds, then we will have the proper harvest.
Yes.
And the question is, of course, how also to sow the seeds, with what attitude. So you have to cultivate the seeds. We have the seed to seal process. We should actually maybe make a seed to seal for networking.
For business, that's true.
A seed to seal for business.
Yeah.
And it's really my philosophy is love, serve, become. To love the people, to serve them, and then we all become more.
Yep.
And I think that's what Gary did with his farms, with the plants he just loves.
Yes.
And he served.
Yes.
It's like, for me, the biggest servant lead I've ever seen.
Yes.
And then he became I think more than 6 million people got touched already by Young Living.
Yes, yeah.
But you said you came to Young Living at a very early age.
Yes.
Please tell us that story.
So in 1998, we were 4 years old at that time. I joined Young Living. I worked in our warehouse. So I was
at 4-year-old.
Well, I wasn't 4 years old. We were 4 years old. The business was 4 years old.
The business.
I was 21 at the time. Yeah, I'm not that young. But I was going to uni. And Young Living was in my hometown. We were in an old school, a middle school that I attended, and Young Living was there. And there was this funny essential oil business I didn't know anything about. At the time, I didn't know anything about essential oils. But as sometimes happens in life, we have these they are happenstance meetings, but feel like it was meant to be. And I got familiar with Young Living and our oils at that time. I was just working in the warehouse, very basic job. One of my first jobs while I was in school, but I came to understand and appreciate the power of essential oils. Even back then, Gary and Mary understood the importance of all of us have experience with oils. And so at that time, I found some of my favorite blends. RC was one of my first, and still remains one of my absolute favorites.
Excellent.
Yeah, Valor
It's
was
one of
that
my
was-
top 3.
Yeah, but it's a power oil.
Yeah.
Of course, lavender, lemon, peppermint, those. But I really fell in love with the blends.
Yeah.
And back at that time, we were a little bit less concerned about compliance than we are today. And so I would open up the product guide on my lunch break and learn about oils. And I loved it because we really talked a little bit more about what oils did in those days. Panaway was another early one that I fell in love with. And so I had from 1998, I had Young Living in my life. And since that time, I've had the Young family in my life, this company in my life. And I've gone on and done different things. I've been in the direct sales space for over 20 years now with other companies.
But it's 25 years Young Living, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like your first love.
Yes, absolutely. And being here at this company at this time with you and with the great people that are here, and to be honest, after Gary's passing, is really meaningful to me because he poured a lot into my life.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to pour it into other people. I want to be able to pay it forward just like he did with us.
Yeah. Where have you been born?
I was born in Utah,
All right.
in the United States, in a town called Payson. It's right in
Payson.
between Salt Lake City and Mona.
Yeah.
So if you've been to the Mona farm
Yeah.
and you've been to our
Drove through
convention in Salt
Payson.
Lake, it's right in the middle off of the
Yeah.
expressway there.
Wow. And to you viewers, I'm just flooded with Ben's energy. It's amazing. For me, it's always a great sign when my mind stops, because then something else is there, like an energy that impacts me. So you are a great one. And I had my first personal experience with you in 2016 when we were in Australia on the Diamond trip.
Yeah.
And Ben was back then the worldwide sales manager. And you just said to me, Ben, Aditya, let's sit together for breakfast. And you reserved half hour for me. And I was relatively young Diamond by then. And I thought, wow, he gives me, this great man gives me like half an hour. And the most amazing thing, Ben was just listening. He was asking me questions, and then he let me talk. And this gave me a role model also for working with my members. Is it something you do intuitively, or is it something you also trained? And can you recommend this somehow for the leadership of leaders in our groups?
Well, I'll say first of all that Aditya, you are so well respected at Young Living.
Oh,
All of us. We love your abundant attitude. You talked about abundance. You live that in your example, and it's a joy to be with you. So spending 30 minutes with you was for me a pleasure. You know, it's a chance for me to learn and grow. And I feel like when we sit and talk, you ask for my advice, but I feel like I learn more from you than you're learning from me whenever we sit down, because of who you are and what you
That's so
represent,
kind.
and the way you live your life and the way you lead the business that you've created with us here at Young Living. So in terms of, I think it's more than anything, it's a real love for people. I
Yeah.
love people. I really love people. I love Young Living brand partners because of the spirit in which they come to us.
Yeah.
People say, I want more. I want to live an abundant life.
Yes.
And I want to be able to make a difference. I want to help people.
Yes.
I want to do something that has meaning. And I really honor that. It's not easy. You have to, it's people who believe that life doesn't just come to you, that you go out and you seize it, you make it happen. And I really respect that. And it's the thing that I love about our community is the people who are here, they're people who care. They're people who really believe in being more and are going to show up and listen and learn and be good business partners. And so when I have an opportunity to spend time with you or any of our brand partners, I want to be able to pay that back. I want to be able to honor that commitment and partnership. And like I said, I learn from you. And I also learn in our partnership at Young Living, you do your best and I have to do my best. And when I understand how you're doing and how I can take better care of you or be a better partner to you, then it helps me do my job better and it helps us be collectively better as a business. So I think it's born out of that, just the desire to be better and to learn from each other and to honor you and what you do for our business, because people know Young Living because of you, more so than because of me. I say this a lot, that people, when they think of Young Living, people in your sphere of influence, they're thinking of Aditya. They're not thinking of Ben, right? And so I need to make sure that I'm supporting you as you do that, because you represent me and our company.
The company supports the field. We are the field leaders. You are the corporate leaders. However, I noticed that Ben has this amazing way of being totally present. It means it's a little bit like sitting in front of an X-ray machine. And I presume, I'm not sure if it's correct, but I presume it's because you make yourself totally empty. You're totally here for the person you're speaking to at that moment. And that shows actually great humility, ability to efface yourself, so you're totally there for the other instead of being there for yourself. And that's actually the secret of servant leadership. That's what we in the field also have to do. Do you have any advice how to do that? You said something like the love for the people, to honor the people. Anything else, any hint how we can make ourselves so empty that we are just there for the other person?
Well, I value you and your time. And especially because I see you maybe 2 or 3 times a year, not enough. So when I have 30 minutes,
Yeah.
I want to be fully present in those 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I don't get that very often.
Yeah.
And I think I learned this from my father. He does this really well. The person in front of him is the most important person in the world in that moment. He's really going to be fully committed and focused on that individual. And I try to do the same.
Yeah.
But especially in instances like this, where for me, it's a joy to be together. And I want to make sure that I make the most of that time. I never want you to feel like I'm distracted or thinking about something else during the time that we have allocated for each other, that we're together.
Absolutely great. So now unpack all this, watch this sequence 5 times at least. I will watch it 10 times because there's been a lot inside that we can unpack and use for ourselves as leaders in the field, building up our network marketing organization. Now, Gary, Mary, Jacob, Joseph, the family, could you share one particular experience you had with Gary, which you just loved, which showed you the man, one particular experience with Mary, and one with Jacob and Joseph?
Okay, yeah, good question. So I'd say, Gary, there's so many experiences I think back to, but one that really stands out to me is in the last men's camp. And we're actually starting to do men's camp again. So those of you that are interested, please do come and join us. Men,
good.
it's for
Yes.
the gentlemen of Young Living. Spouses, or if you're building the business yourself, any man is welcome to be there. But Gary wanted to start men's camp as a way to help men adjust to life at Young Living. Because what often happens is their wives are building the business, they come in and they don't know how to support, and they're retired oftentimes. They're trying to find their purpose. That was the original intent of men's camp. At any rate, at men's camp, Gary did a really powerful exercise for us on the final night. And he went through an exercise where we wrote down all of the things that got in the way of, they were really things that we were afraid of. What were our fears? And the fears that were getting in the way of what we really wanted in life. And we wrote all of them down on a piece of paper. And he went through an exercise. This was a couple of hours, wrote it all down. And then after we'd written it all down, he asked us to take that page out of our notebook and tear it out and go, and we put it on a fire.
Oh, cool.
We burned, we kind of, expunged all of those fears that were getting in the way of what we really cared about in life. And then he spread those coals, those hot embers, and we walked across those.
Yeah.
And at the other end of the hot embers was Gary. And I remember walking across that fire, doing the fire walk and being afraid and nervous. I'd never done it before. And there was Gary at the end of that walk with his arms open, and I gave him a big hug. And I realized at that time, that was about a year before he passed away.
Wow.
Not quite, about 10 months before he passed
August
away.
Before he passed away.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I realized in that moment just how much he meant to me. And I didn't know at that time that he was going to pass, but looking back on it now, I'm so grateful that I had that time and so many other times with him. And again, for me, I hear people say, I didn't know Gary. And you know what? It doesn't matter. You don't have to have known Gary to really know what Gary was about.
Yeah.
If you know Aditya, you know what Gary was about. And I hope if you know me, you know what Gary was about, because we're trying to pay that forward from what Gary taught us. So that's one memory that I had with Gary. But Gary was the type who, one of his driving passions was giving people new experiences, helping them step outside of their comfort zone and learn or experience something for the first time. He got so much joy from that. And I loved it because being with Gary was always an adventure.
Wow, thank you for that.
Mary, I work with Mary every day, and I love Mary. She has just got such a place in my heart. And I have beautiful experiences with her every day. I would say, it's a culmination of experiences with Mary that I love. What I love about Mary is she's so humble. And she she has been very successful in her life, has tons of experience. You know, she speaks German, lived in Austria, trained as an opera singer, ran her family's gold mine. She's just an incredibly interesting person. But what I love about Mary is through all of that and through her immense success, she is so down to earth, and she does things that are so incredibly charming that show that she just loves people. So one thing she does is whenever she goes to Ecuador, it's hard to get things through Ecuador. Their customs and duties process is very difficult. So what she does is every time she travels to Ecuador, she does a clothing drive around the office. So she says, what do you have you're not using? And we bring clothes from our children, our own wardrobe, from our wives, and we give all of that to Mary. She puts it in these suitcases. She'll bring down as many suitcases as she can, and she takes those and donates them to the academy.
That's
and she hand carries them.
Wow.
Another thing I love about Mary is she tailors her own dresses.
She does. Wow.
She does for
and
convention.
They're so beautiful.
Yeah, so beautiful, and she does all of it herself.
Wow.
Of course, she could pay someone to do it, but she likes doing it. She's capable of doing it, and she just doesn't spend a lot of money, because everything that she has, she gives. She gives to Young Living. If you look at the Mona Farm and what we have there, she's donated all of that herself. It's her own money that she gives to the business and to the farm. So Mary is incredibly generous and incredibly humble, and I think one of the most admirable things is when someone sacrifices what they want so they can give more to others.
Yeah. It brings tears to my eyes now as you're speaking, because this sacrifice, her life is a sacrifice.
It really is. And she has plenty, but she doesn't take any for herself. She gives all of it away.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful in every way possible. So that's something I love about Mary. I could go on about Mary. Mary, when she travels, is incredible. So she is, I won't tell you her age, but she's got a lot of experience. But she travels like she's a young woman. She hits the ground running. I remember when we saw you at the convention in Valencia.
Yeah.
And I know Mary flew in before I did, and she went straight from the plane right into a diamond meeting, and then a staff meeting, and the next day she does all day, and she'll stand and take selfies or sign books, and she'll do that for hours because she knows how important it is. She knows how important it is to the individual who's going to have a few moments with Mary, and for whom that's going to be really important. I love Mary. She's really an incredible woman. We're so grateful. I'm so grateful, and we're so lucky that she's with us. You know, Gary's passed on, but Mary's still here, and she leads us every day. She's amazing. Jacob is so impressive. He's grown into a very impressive young man. Jacob is really fun. He's got a very, very, very fun sense of humor, and he's a bit of a prankster.
Oh, wow.
So especially, it's really fun watching he and Prasad. Yeah. Sometimes me too, but he'll play pranks on Prasad or myself. He's often sending funny little text messages, but he's also a committed young man. He's very committed to his own learning and development, just like his dad. He does school, but even more so, he does life, and he learns through life, and he's always learning and exploring life. Yeah. I'm really impressed by him, and just like Gary too, he's always pressing his boundaries. So lately he's been doing on a personal fitness journey. Again, learning a lot himself, and also being very committed and consistent in making sure that he's learning and developing and growing his physical health. So Jacob's really an amazing young man. Kate, his wife, is also amazing. Yes. She's just about to graduate with her business degree, incredibly smart. And the thing I really admire about Kate is she's a listener. She doesn't talk a lot, but she's always listening, and she's really smart. Very wise, very kind. She's a great woman, and Jacob has done very well. Joseph, I'd say, is probably he is charismatic. I don't know how else to say it. He has fun with people. Yes. He really loves laughing and having a good time with people. And he's an athlete. He's right now pursuing his dreams of soccer. So he's at a high-performance soccer academy right now. He's coming to Spain at the end of this summer, and he's going to play football or soccer in Spain while he pursues his education. So he's got his own adventures he's chasing, and he's a very fun young man. It's been really gratifying to see the boys grow up.
Yes.
And I feel like, again, as Gary is gone, myself and so many others in the office, we really are invested in these young men, making sure that they are growing and developing, and we're taking good care of them.
Yeah. So this is 25 years of Young Living encapsulated. Thank you so much for sharing all this with us. especially for those who never came to meet Gary.
Yep.
But in fact, also, it's not possible for everyone to get so close to Mary and Jacob and Joseph and
Yes.
Kate.
Yes. Yes.
Fantastic. She's really part of the family.
Yes. And I know Mary and Jacob and Kate, they're all very solicitous. They all want to meet you,
Yeah.
all of you. And so if you can, come to any event that Mary will be at
Yeah.
and just get in line and make sure you get some time with her.
Yeah.
It's really
And
worth it.
We learn how to grow a bigger family
That's
just
right.
by following that example.
Yeah.
So let's finish off with some this or that.
Okay. Yeah.
Game.
Yeah. This is fun. I'm excited about this.
Frankincense or lavender?
I gotta go frankincense.
All right.
I mean, we can't keep lavender in our home. We use it every day, but frankincense is a power oil.
All right.
You know, it's
Lemon or peppermint?
peppermint.
RC or Valor?
Oh,
That's a tough one. Huh?
Aditya, this is not fair. It's like
I
picking
know.
my favorite child. I'm gonna go with RC.
Yeah.
RC.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know what happened to me when I had Valor? It was the most important oil for me when I came to Young Living in the PSK.
Mhm.
Back then, the 9 oils.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened it and something happened.
Mm.
And I heard for weeks a voice in my head. I thought I was going crazy,
Mm-hmm.
repeating, reconnect, reconnect, reconnect.
Mm.
And that was like the message of Valor for me.
Mm.
And still, I have exactly the same thing. RC and Valor, like unparalleled. It's as well as it
Yeah, I
cannot be
know.
either or.
Here's what I'm thinking in my mind is I'll go without Valor, but I'll take highest potential.
Yeah,
I'll have RC and highest potential will be my compensation for Valor. But it's amazing how the oils speak to you.
Yes,
I love that story and what you mentioned there, because I think we all have that. When you have that connection with an oil,
Yes,
you'll be changed forever.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Rose or jasmine?
Rose. My wife wears rose, and I love it.
Cedarwood or spruce?
These are hard. That's a hard one. Oh, I'm gonna go cedarwood begrudgingly because I love spruce.
Yeah,
that's a
cedarwood
tough
is
one.
very manly,
Yeah,
and you are very manly.
yeah. Well, I use it for this.
Yeah.
I diffuse it at night with lavender. It's a beautiful bedtime blend for me. I
Yeah.
love cedarwood and lavender. Yeah. So,
What's your connection with Vikings? You look like a Viking.
well, I have some Viking blood. I grew up where my ancestry is from Northern Europe, the United Kingdom, and from Scandinavia.
Wow.
So I definitely have a tie to there. And my wife likes the beard, so I grow the beard out because she likes it. It makes me look like a Viking, I guess. I don't know.
That's great. Ragnar Lothbrok or Björn Ironside?
Oh, I got to go with Ragnar. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ragnar. He was the great warrior. So
Definitely.
yeah, I really admire both of them. But
Odin or Thor?
Odin or Thor? I'm gonna go with Thor just because he's
The
more
hammer.
celebrated. The
Yeah.
hammer, yeah.
He's a doer.
yes,
he's an
yes,
achiever.
absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. Motorcycle or car?
How about convertible?
All
It's
right.
almost the best of both worlds, right? you get the air, but it's a little bit more, it's a little bit more safe. So yeah, I'll go with the convertible car.
Beautiful. Blue or red?
Blue, always been blue. Yep, yeah, I would like blue. Yeah,
That's so good.
you too.
Yeah.
You're looking good in blue.
Mountains or seaside?
I'm going to go mountains, although that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I grew up in the mountains, and if you've been to Utah, we have beautiful mountains, so that's where I spend a lot of my time now. But I used to live in Australia, and I love the sea. I love the ocean. So.
Yeah. Wow. Woman or man?
Oh, well, I'm going to go with woman on that one.
Absolutely.
I think you look at our business and you see the power of women, and that you gotta represent for the women. Yeah.
And we all come from a woman.
That's right. That's right. And the good women in my life have shaped my life so much.
Yeah. Does any other either or question come to your mind?
Oh, that's good. How about, well, let's see. How about, I was going to say Germany or Austria.
Oh, that's a good one. that's like Canada.
That's tricky. Canada,
USA or
United
Canada.
States. Yeah.
Or like England and Scotland.
Yeah, both beautiful countries.
Or like China and Mongolia.
That's right.
I was always wondering how there's always a bigger country and then a smaller country.
Often isn't there?
Like a pair like Brazil and Argentina.
And there's a lot of cultural ties, but also a lot of like fierce identity.
Yes.
Both beautiful countries.
Yes.
Germany and Austria, two of my favorites. Two beautiful places.
Yeah. So another one, enthusiasm or magnetism. Enthusiasm in the sense of sending out, electrify, or magnetism, let things come to you.
Oh, I'd say enthusiasm.
Yes.
I feel like you put enthusiasm and it brings magnetism.
Yeah.
But I also feel like you have to give first before you get.
Yeah.
You know, like and I think if you have enthusiasm for life,
Yeah.
it's one of the secrets. I tell this to my children, but sometimes life is just about trying. You're just trying, just doing your best.
Yeah.
And you can't always control, things won't always work out the way you want to, but as long as you do your best, as long as you do it with enthusiasm,
Yeah.
I feel like things work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one quote that Enzo Ferrari had hanging in his office, and it was, enthusiasm is the secret for success.
There you go. He did pretty well.
He did pretty well. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you for everything. I just
Thank
want you
you.
to know, and I want everybody who's watching this to know, how much I admire you and how much I appreciate you. You represent
Wow.
us so well.
Thank
and as
you.
a business, we are a great business because of people like you. So thank you,
Wow.
Aditya.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone. Now, how I would go about this, listen at least 3 times, make notes, second time through, and then see what I can set into action, like make an action plan based on that, because this was like a condensed masterclass that Ben gave us now. So thank you very much.